Have you ever wondered why certain people seem to naturally gravitate towards you while others barely notice your presence? What if the answer isn't just in personality traits or social skills, but hidden deep within the biological and neurological networks of your brain, intertwined with principles of physics, perception, and energy? The science of attraction goes far beyond superficial appearances and fleeting impressions. It begins with understanding the invisible forces that govern human behavior and the subtle signals our brains emit, consciously or unconsciously, which act as a beacon to the people we encounter. Neuroscience, psychology, and even quantum metaphors help us unravel why you attract certain individuals while others drift away, and why the people you are drawn to might reveal more about your own mind than about them. It all starts with the notion that the human brain is not just an organ that processes information, it is a dynamic system, a network of energy exchanges that shapes reality, perception, and interpersonal resonance. Our thoughts, emotions, and experiences create patterns, and these patterns send out signals that others can, in subtle ways, perceive. Just as a radio emits frequencies, so too does the human mind generate a spectrum of neural and emotional waves, many of which operate below conscious awareness. When two minds resonate on similar frequencies, attraction occurs almost automatically. The first layer of understanding comes from neuroplasticity, the brain's remarkable capacity to adapt, reorganize, and form new connections. Neuroplasticity is not only a response to learning or injury. It all shapes how we respond to social environments. Imagine your brain as a complex energy grid. Every thought is a current flowing through circuits, every emotion a wave affecting neighboring nodes, and every pattern of behavior a network of repeated connections. When you consistently operate on certain frequencies, whether they be curiosity, calmness, empathy, or intensity, your neural circuits reinforce these traits. Over time, these circuits emit stable signals, subtle cues that other brains can pick up. Your energy, in a metaphorical and neurological sense, becomes coherent. People are drawn to coherence, not chaos, and they unconsciously sense when another system operates in a stable, predictable, or harmonious pattern. This leads to the first scientific insight. You attract people whose own neurological and emotional states resonate with the patterns you emit. But the story deepens when we consider the role of stress responses and the autonomic nervous system. Humans have evolved to respond to environmental signals, including social cues, through adaptive mechanisms designed to preserve safety and optimize connection. The fight-or-flight system, for instance, not only detects immediate physical threats but also interprets social threats and opportunities. Your body, through physiological signals such as subtle facial expressions, microgestures, pheromones, and even vocal tone, communicates your internal state before your conscious mind speaks. Imagine two people meeting in a crowded room. One individual maintains calm, regulated breathing and posture. Another exhibits microtremors of anxiety and hypervigilance. Without consciously analyzing these cues, the brain of the observer interprets them, calculating potential safety, trustworthiness, or compatibility. This automatic process is the body's way of measuring resonance. Attraction is, in this sense, a biological algorithm. Your internal state influences the signals you emit, and these signals attract others whose brains are tuned to similar patterns. The fascinating twist here is that what you perceive as weakness, nervousness, introversion, sensitivity can actually function as a protective signal for compatibility. In other words, your vulnerabilities are often the very frequencies that draw the right people toward you. Neuroscience reveals that the brain's mirror neuron system is central to this process. Mirror neurons fire both when we act and when we observe others acting. They are the biological foundation of empathy, allowing us to internally simulate the emotions and intentions of those around us. This mirroring extends to subtle social signals. Someone who unconsciously mirrors your emotional state experiences a sense of familiarity and connection, and you, in turn, mirror theirs. Attraction is not a conscious negotiation. It is an emergent phenomenon of synchronized neural circuits. These circuits are further shaped by experiences stored in the hippocampus and prefrontal cortex. The hippocampus encodes memories, particularly those with emotional weight, and creates templates for relational expectations. If past experiences associate certain traits, confidence, kindness, curiosity, with positive outcomes, your brain actively seeks patterns in the present that match these templates. This means you are neurologically predisposed to attract people who align with the mental and emotional models you have internalized, even when you are not consciously aware of these preferences. From a psychological perspective, the concept of perception filters is critical. Each human mind filters reality through prior experiences, expectations, and biases. When two individuals' filters overlap in meaningful ways, perception aligns and attraction arises. This alignment can be visual, verbal, or energetic, but it always involves a deeper synchrony of how each brain interprets sensory information and emotional cues. The metaphysical metaphor often applied here is borrowed from quantum theory. Just as quantum particles can become entangled, so can human minds. While this is metaphorical rather than literal, it conveys the idea that two individuals can form a non-obvious connection that transcends simple social mechanics. The entanglement occurs when energy patterns, neural, emotional, or behavioral, intersect and reinforce each other. You may have noticed that certain people feel instantly familiar, almost as if you have known them for years despite just meeting. This sensation is a reflection of overlapping energy patterns and neural resonance, a phenomenon psychology describes as implicit familiarity or unconscious recognition. Another factor lies in genetics and biochemical signals. Studies in evolutionary biology show that humans are, at least partially, attracted to complementary genetic markers. Major histocompatibility complex (MHC) genes, for instance, influence body odor in ways detectable at a subconscious level. Attraction, in part, is a biological mechanism for enhancing genetic diversity and immune system robustness. While we often dismiss body scent as trivial, it is actually a subtle, evolutionary-level signal guiding social and romantic connection. These biochemical cues interact with neurochemical states, such as dopamine, oxytocin, and serotonin. Dopamine governs reward and motivation, creating pleasure signals when a compatible brain pattern is detected. Oxytocin, often called the bonding hormone, enhances trust and emotional attunement. Serotonin modulates mood and perception, influencing how patterns of attraction are evaluated. The complex interplay between these neurochemicals and environmental cues is what makes attraction simultaneously mysterious and scientifically measurable. At the intersection of psychology, neuroscience, and quantum metaphors lies a profound philosophical implication. Attraction is not merely about others. It is about the self. The people you draw are reflections of your internal state, resonances of your energy, and extensions of your neural patterns. This does not mean your destiny is predetermined or fixed. Rather, it suggests that understanding your own mind and brain allows you to consciously influence the networks you form. Through practices that enhance self-awareness, emotional regulation, and mental coherence, you effectively adjust the signals your mind emits, subtly guiding the kinds of people who are attracted to you. Consider the role of attention and intention. Modern neuroscience shows that what we focus on physically and mentally amplifies those patterns within our brain circuitry. Attention acts as a lens that strengthens certain neural pathways while pruning others. Intention, combined with sustained attention, produces a coherent energy that others can detect. This explains why people often notice an inexplicable magnetism in someone who is fully present, curious, and emotionally engaged. Their brain and energy patterns are aligned in a way that communicates stability, authenticity, and openness. Furthermore, the phenomenon of cognitive bias contributes to attraction. Confirmation bias, for instance, causes us to notice traits in others that validate our self-perception and expectations. If you unconsciously believe you are empathetic, you are more likely to be drawn to and attract others who exhibit empathy. Similarly, the similarity attraction effect, documented in social psychology, suggests that we naturally gravitate toward individuals with comparable values, attitudes, and interests, not merely because of superficial comfort, but because our neural patterns find coherence and reinforcement in shared perspectives. Here we encounter another twist that challenges common assumptions. People often perceive rejection or disinterest as a reflection of their inadequacy, Yet, neuroscientifically, it can be interpreted as a form of protective alignment. Your brain is constantly assessing energetic and psychological compatibility. When someone does not resonate with your patterns, your brain labels them as less compatible and directs attention elsewhere. Rejection, then, is not an insult. It is a biological signal maintaining coherence and encouraging alignment with truly compatible systems. Now, imagine overlaying this understanding onto social dynamics at a larger scale. Groups of people form networks based on overlapping frequencies of thought, behavior, and emotion. These networks are self-organizing systems, much like neural networks in the brain. Attraction is not limited to one-on-one interactions. It scales into communities, social movements, and even professional networks. You are drawn to environments where your neural and emotional patterns find amplification. And in turn, you emit signals that attract others who resonate with those amplified patterns. Philosophically, this insight invites reflection on the interconnectedness of human experience. If attraction is the product of resonant energy, neural coherence, and biochemical signaling, then the people who enter your life are not random. They are emergent properties of the dynamic system that is you, a system continuously shaped by perception, thought, emotion, and interaction. This understanding challenges simplistic notions of fate or chance. It suggests that by cultivating awareness of your own internal state, you can influence the emergent patterns of relationships around you, fostering connections that are mutually reinforcing, meaningful, and energetically coherent. One of the most fascinating aspects of this process is its subtlety. You do not need to consciously manipulate signals or project artificial energy to attract certain individuals. In fact, attempts to do so often disrupt coherence, generating noise in the neural and emotional networks that others unconsciously perceive. Authenticity, self-regulation, curiosity, and openness naturally generate stable, resonant signals that attract compatibility. This is the biological and psychological foundation for what many refer to as magnetism or charisma. Science reframes these qualities not as mystical traits but as emergent properties of a coherent, adaptive, and resonant system, the human mind and brain functioning in alignment with itself. In practical terms, the insights from neuroscience and psychology suggest several pathways to consciously enhance the alignment of attraction. Mindfulness practices, for example, improve attention regulation, emotional awareness, and the capacity for empathy, thereby strengthening neural circuits that emit stable, coherent signals. Cognitive reframing, drawn from psychology, allows individuals to reinterpret vulnerabilities or perceived weaknesses as strengths that guide authentic resonance. Physical health and biochemical balance modulate neurotransmitters, influencing mood and energy patterns. Even subtle aspects like posture, breathing, and micro-expressions alter the physiological signals that others unconsciously perceive. The intersection of these factors creates a feedback loop. As your internal coherence strengthens, you attract compatible individuals whose presence further reinforces your neural and emotional stability. This loop is both fascinating and profound because it demonstrates how personal growth, neurological adaptation, and social dynamics are deeply intertwined. Returning to the metaphor of the brain as an energy network, each interaction is a node of signal exchange. Each conversation, glance, or shared experience is a transmission of subtle frequencies. Some connections amplify, others dissipate, but all contribute to the evolving architecture of your social and relational system. Attraction, in this sense, is a self-organizing phenomenon that reflects both the individual system and the emergent network of interactions. As a final consideration, we can explore the philosophical dimension. If the people we attract are reflections of our internal patterns, what does that imply about the nature of human connection, free will, and the self? Does conscious awareness of our neural and emotional signals grant us greater agency over our relational landscape? Science suggests that while we cannot control every outcome, we can cultivate coherence, authenticity, and attentional focus, thereby influencing the emergent patterns of attraction. This perspective bridges neuroscience, psychology, biology, and even quantum metaphors, providing a holistic framework for understanding human connection. In conclusion, the scientific reason you attract certain people is a tapestry woven from neuroplasticity, Physiological signaling, mirror neurons, biochemical cues, perception filters, cognitive biases, and self-organizing social dynamics. The people who enter your life are not random. They are resonant reflections of your energy, neural patterns, and internal state. What may seem like coincidence or chemistry is in fact an emergent property of complex biological, psychological, and social systems. By understanding these principles, you gain insight not only into attraction but into the deeper mechanisms of your own mind and the nature of human connection itself. So the next time you wonder why someone gravitates toward you or why others seem to drift away, consider the invisible currents beneath the surface, the neural signals, biochemical whispers, and energy patterns that define the resonance of your being. Embrace your vulnerabilities, cultivate your coherence, and explore the depth of your own internal systems. For the people you attract are mirrors, amplifiers, and companions of the mind and energy you emit. What patterns are you currently emitting, and how might they be shaping the people who come into your life? Think about it, reflect on it. And as you continue exploring the science of your own mind, consider sharing your insights with others. If this journey into neuroscience, psychology, and the subtle science of attraction inspired you, give this video a like, share your thoughts in the comments below, and subscribe to MindSpark Science to explore more of the hidden mechanisms that shape our reality, our perception, and our connections. Every connection begins with understanding the currents within yourself, and here together we illuminate the unseen forces that shape the human experience.